Hi, my name is Ross Siegel. Thanks so much for coming to talk to us. You get so many smart people with huge megaphones constantly acting as broken records, talking about what a huge problem with this is on a daily basis. 98% of the scientists agree, as you say. Why are so many people still against this? I mean, it's one thing to say that Exxon's behind it, but I think there's other forces at work too. And I'm curious as to why this process of change has moved at such a glacial pace, for lack of a better term. Is it economics? Is it no better alternatives that people know about? Is it lack of information? Is there one answer, or are there many answers?
Mark, you've been studying this a long time.
I think there's many answers, and again, I would reemphasize a point I made earlier. It is really only in this country that you would be even asking that question. They've long ago decided in the rest of the world that they need to move on this, and the rest of the world would have moved a lot farther than they have already if this country had moved. Had Washington agreed, you would have seen a deal at Copenhagen, for example, that would have made a real dent in this problem. So I think we really have to look back to Washington as that should be the focus of your question. Because again, here in California, think about it. We have been one of the world's leaders in the fight against climate change. And we did that during the reign of a Republican governor who stood up to the rest of his party, Governor Schwarzenegger, and said, we know the science is here and it's clear and we're going to act. And luckily, California is the 8th biggest economy in the world. So when we do something, it's almost as important as the United States doing something. And so I think the difference is, I wouldn't say that it's Exxon alone that is stopping this, but you cannot underestimate the enormous political power of Exxon and the rest of the oil industry. They are the richest industry in history. And they have not just control of Congress, but because of their disinformation campaign, and I'm going to take on my own profession now, they have completely bamboozled the media. And of course, the mass media is the main source of most Americans' information on this. And the mass media has done an embarrassing, professionally embarrassing job of covering this issue for 20 years. I refer to it as journalistic malpractice, because they have taken the sort of on the one hand, on the other hand approach to covering this issue. And while that's a sound approach on many issues, you should ventilate different points of view on how you reform immigration policy or how you cut the deficit. But it's not on the one hand and on the other hand when it is a matter of science. You should not be pretending that there are two points of view about gravity or evolution or climate change. And unfortunately, our media has done that. And so that has sapped the kind of political pressure that we need. And we were talking earlier about the role of people getting into the streets and voting out the politicians who aren't doing the right thing. Americans cannot do that as long as they are really confused about the real stakes here. And, final point, the solutions. If Americans knew how attractive, economically attractive these solutions are, I think that would make an enormous difference.